is that a portion of the protesters decided, well, we marched to Wall Street. When we arrived at Wall Street, the police had erected a barricade. And behind the barricade, there was a large line of policemen. Some of the protesters decided that they would overrun the barricade, and the police began pepper spraying people and making arrests. We just heard a report that the police had backed up a bus and begun making mass arrests on Wall Street. Right now we're not there. I am able to view a live feed, but it looks like the live feed is about to go on the road. They're trying to get as many cameras out there with the live feed capacity as possible at this time. And we're just kind of waiting around the media center until our batteries are able for us to go back out.
Did you witness the police pepper spraying people?
Yes. I witnessed pepper spray, and then we came down to the medical center, and there were at least 3 girls sitting down being treated with saline solution or whatever they use to treat the eyes of people who've been pepper sprayed. These are completely wet. They're teared up. There's people tilting their heads back and pouring massive quantities of water. In addition to the barricade at Wall Street, we also witnessed that they were beginning to bisect the protesters. There are so many that were taking both sides of the sidewalk, and they were trying to bisect the protesters by erecting the orange snow net between the streets so that the two masses on either side of the sidewalks could not coalesce and operate as one group.
Were there any mic checks that told people to go regroup at one location?
Yes. It's really hard to communicate while we're out there. We went right at the wall at Wall Street, and at one time the police were pushing us back with orange nets, and the group decided to sit down and try and communicate with each other. There were many mic checks asking people to get off of the street and to get back on the sidewalks. There were so many people, however, that it was challenging to be working as a team. And the people in the front line were subject to the pepper spray, and several officers were grabbing people over the barricades and pulling them onto Wall Street to begin making arrests. About 3.5 minutes ago, we saw 2 vehicles passing down Wall Street, passing down Broadway in the direction of Wall Street with their lights on, and a roar of boo came through the crowd. We can't witness what's going on immediately except through the live feed, but it seems that they have backed the bus or something up and started making arrests on the group that chose to go across the barricade and take Wall Street.
So are the people that were arrested and pepper sprayed, they will most likely go through the same revolving door process of being held for a day or 2 and then released?
That seems to be the procedure that the police are going through at this time. They did just put a lot of that money that they got from JP Morgan Stanley into creating a database system where they can begin profiling people.
And the people that were arrested today and pepper sprayed, do you know whether or not they received medical attention once they are put in jail or being held?
It seems that there are a couple groups of people. There are some that have been brought back to the medical station, and they've begun treating them for pepper spray in the eyes. However, some of the protesters that were trying to cross the barricade are probably not receiving medical attention at this time.
So it appears as though the Anthony Bologna situation wasn't just a bad apple. It's actually a tactic the police are using to in unprovoked ways, blind people.
Well, I would not report that it's unprovoked. The people at the barricade at Wall Street were warned that if they crossed the barricade, they would be arrested. But there seemed to be a group of people in the front that were okay with being arrested. And they were trying to maneuver the people that were fine with being arrested to the front of the group so that they could take the barricade, so that while the police were busy with those people, the protesters could continue taking Wall Street. The march did begin as a peaceful event, and it still seems to be fairly peaceful, except for the locations where the protesters have ignored the warnings of the police and attempted to take the barricades. However, the police were aware that the protesters did want to walk down Wall Street and had previously erected a barricade and prepared themselves by filling trash bags full of riot cups so that they could start making mass arrests.
Describe, please, what locations were the police attempting to barricade off? Were they simply trying to stop you from entering private property?
It's really hard to say. I am under the impression that Wall Street is a public street, and that if we wish to march down it, there shouldn't be a problem with it. However, the police were instructed to keep the protesters from marching down Wall Street, and when they approached the barricade, we tried to make a decision as to how to deal with the unexpected barricade, and that seems to be why the people who were willing to be arrested moved to the front of the group.
Okay, but we do know, in fact, that people were arrested for simply attempting to walk on a public street.
Yes, that is correct. We have a lot of footage today of what has happened here on the lower side of the park. The police have been erecting all kinds of barricades all day long and keeping marchers from marching in the directions that they really wanted to go. Nothing at this time has been violent until we approached Wall Street this evening. But the police have been preparing for mass arrests all day as they've been transporting these bags of riot cups from corner to corner and making sure they're in tactical locations.
You know, while I was watching the live feed, I heard a couple chants going on that had to do with the police disobeying their orders. It said, disobey your orders over and over again. And you have mentioned that some of the police seem like they really do approve of what Occupy is all about. Did you see any of that type of any of those types of behaviors from the police that were at the barricades? Did they seem like they shared your sentiment, or were they pretty much just stone-faced and doing their job?
Well, from what I've seen, Don and I were immediately next to the barricade for a portion of time, and the police were continuing to be open to dialogue with the protesters. We mentioned to an officer that we were looking for a safe route out of the center as we were attempting to come back and charge their batteries. The police responded with kindness and quickly guided us in a direction where we could leave the hot area rather quickly and safely. So they do seem to be wanting people to remove themselves from the hot situation. However, they're also prepared to be dealing with the people that are trying to continue the march in a peaceful fashion.
So do you expect that everyone is going to just make their way back to Liberty Plaza?
It's really hard for me to say at this time because I am stuck at the media center here in the plaza. I'm going to give my batteries another 5 to 10 minutes to charge, and then we're going to head back out into the thick of what's going at Wall Street to try and continue getting more footage.
All right. Well, I will be here. If you need to reconnect with us, I'll be right here. So otherwise, I'll keep monitoring your events at the live stream.
Great. Thank you for taking this call.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care, Isaac.
Thank you. Bye.